Hey everyone, happy holidays, happy 4th of July. This is our 7th annual, that's right, 7th annual Great American Bloopers and Outtakes. This is always fun to put together. I go through the whole year, and when I make screw-ups, I just save them. So they're all here. In between each one of them is that real weird commercial sound at the end of each commercial that we do, the bumper that I call it. It sounds like, y'all heard it, sounds just like. After each one of them is a new blooper. I also come in between some of these and talk about them, especially the ones with Lance. I just want to thank everyone for listening to us. Like I said, 7th annual. This is an idea that I came up with very, very early because we started in February of 2017, and we did this on July of 2017, the first one. So it was an early idea. And it stuck with us. Also, after the bloopers, Patreon, we have 2 Patreon visits with Terrence Ward, Memphis Wrestling's commentator who commentates with Dustin Starr. 2 episodes of Patreon with him. Fun stuff. Terrence is a smart guy, and I really like sitting down and talking with him. All right, guys. As I said, happy 4th of July, and as everyone knows, well, I love my mama. Hey, the funny thing about this clip, as you listen, he talks about episode 33. It was actually episode 34. Wah, wah.
33rd episode, so kind of symbolic, 33 and a third. Didn't George Harrison have that album? And if you know what vinyl is, like, vinyl's made a comeback, so I'm sure a lot of people know what vinyl is. So 33 and a third, like the album length and speed and all that. So anyway.
Hey, welcome everyone to the 6th annual. Yeah, that's right. 6th. I can't say 6th, can I? Well, this will be a blooper for next year. Remember, guys, the Record Store is a music podcast. Oh, we get review here from Lance about the 7-Eleven.
You guys are the best. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for providing for my dietary malfunctions in life. That when I finish the recording, I'm going to head to 7-Eleven and see what kind of new Doritos I can find. I think we're coming up to 7-Eleven Day, where it's free Slurpees for everybody on July 11th, hence 7-Eleven. So be sure to check that out. They are not sponsors of the show, although I would love to have them as sponsors of the show, because I could go into a brand new 7-Eleven that I've never been into. And I've been in, probably literally hundreds of 7-Elevens in various travels throughout the country. I've been in hundreds of 7-Elevens, but if I go into one for the very first time that I've never been in before, despite the fact that I know most of the product, I can be in there for half an hour investigating and trying to find new stuff that I had not seen before. So yes, I am obsessed with 7-Eleven. Walmart's another one, but there's some crappy Walmarts out there. I have not seen too many crappy 7-Elevens, so I really appreciate the desserts that you'll find, and the chips at 7-Eleven, and the sodas. But anyway, I digress. So this is Patreon. Thank you guys for your shekels coming our way. I just got a bonus today from Brian, so I am rolling in the dough. So I'm going to go, I might buy 2 chili dogs at 7-Eleven today. So enough plugs for 7-Eleven, Jesus. Anyway, so this is the Patreon where you get to hear what was my favorite song from the album.
Oh, appearing that night. I'm not sure why I did. That loves bad. I can't say Bad Bunny. Can I say Bad Bunny? You know what it is, and you know what to do. Excuse me. Well, fuck. That'll be good for the bloopers. That discount code. You need to take control of your bush. Bush. You know what it is? Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, y'all loved that, didn't you? I've got to put that on the bloopers episode. Shaq. Here's Lance again, talking about fall flavors on a music podcast.
No, I did travel with my best friend John. So I can say we and have it actually be official. So took some time off in August and I'm back. It's the fall, pumpkin spice latte season and everything is pumpkin these days. So why can't they do like more maple and more cinnamon? I have nothing against pumpkin. I really do love pumpkin stuff, but man, they just overdo it. So it needs to be more cinnamon and more maple. That's what I got to say. And caramel apple, that's another good one. So do some more of that, Starbucks and all you other people that just do pumpkin stuff. I mean, I grant you that's going to sell. Oreos, that's going to sell, but bring out some more stuff. Anyway, getting off track already. So get it, track, music, podcast. Anyway, so this is the record store, and the concept is I randomly grab an album off my wall of CDs, and I just am able to listen to it with a fresh set of ears. Maybe it's something that I haven't listened to in decades. Maybe it's something that is brand new. Who knows? The only things that I try to avoid are greatest hits albums.
Tony Khan, TK as the insiders call him. All right, good morning. Hey, happy Friday to everyone. Happy Friday, Spock. It's Saturday. In Impact. I love him. Love him there at Impact. Love him. I love him. I love Billy Ray. You think we'll have a relationship? Hey, we're live from STS Studios, and let me start that all over again. Good gracious. Woo! All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The business. Be there. And as everyone knows, I lost my voice there. Let me try that one more time. And as everyone knows, I love my... You know what it is. You know what to do. Happy Monday to everyone. Happy Monday. And Monday means... Well, it means Monday... excuse me. All right, you know what to do. You know what it is. Right there at the top of the screen. So my question is... fuck. A sleeper of a card was an NXT card.
Go. We'll talk to you soon, Rock. Record Store Nation. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Have a great week.
The Morning Shiznit Blend is a medium roast coffee that is designed... You know what it is, and you know what to do. How's everyone doing on this great Thursday? Tonight, Trinity. That's right. For some reason, I've been real excited about the debut of Trinity. Lance was in Chicago. Lance and John, my buddies, and my co-host. Oh, man, I'm messing this up. I can't put all these in fucking bloopers. I have so many bloopers on Shiznit Minute. This is a Patreon simple episode. Simple episode. Oh.
Thank you. Jeez.
Well, bless you.
That we have a blooper
I think that's the first time that's ever happened. Hell, I ain't gonna cut that out. I have to cut that out of the main. What's the timestamp? Not off of Patreon, but 10:56. Let me write that down.
Yeah, there you go.
Patreon, it's only $5. That's right. July is Super Summer Giveaway Spectacular. All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STS Pod.club production. My God, I can't even talk. Let's try that one more time. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's for your ears and nose. It's for your ear and nose trimmer. That's what that is. Ultimate Premium Body Wash. Ultimate Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo plus Conditioner. Ultra Premium. And I said all that wrong, so let's do that all again. Stop. Now we get weight loss advice and hopefully an inspiration for you to go out and lose weight. As Lance talks about this, I believe this was on the Patreon of the Record Store. Remember, the Record Store is a music podcast. He also says he's straight edge, like CM Punk. Lance, I know this, and all your friends know this. I've got a picture with you in a beer. You can't drink beer and be straight edge. Come on. And the weight loss, big thumbs up to you. But when it gets really windy, just remember that 16 pounds. Buddy, you might be flying all over the place there in Chicago.
So anyway, thank you, Patreons. We appreciate your support. It keeps me in the Doritos and the Oreos. So thank you so much. And I'm happy to report I have lost 16 pounds. I've been trying to lose this weight for, God, so many years. And finally this year I buckled down and started working out more, and I have actually lost 16 pounds. I am actually at my goal weight for where I want to be, which is the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm always talking about Doritos and Oreos and junk food. And I always do the tournament of junk, and I subsist on probably 2/3 of my diet is junk food. So the fact that I've been able to lose weight just is a really proud fact, because I eat like really badly. I have hardly any vices. I don't really drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs or anything. I am Mr. Straight Edge, CM Punk, as far as that goes. But my one vice is that I eat really badly. I will be the guy who comes home and eats a bag of Doritos after work, and that's dinner. So, but somehow it's an inspiration, hopefully, to some of you guys. It can be done if you buckle down, pace yourself on the junk food, but you work out, and you can do it. So I'm actually at my goal weight. This year has finally brought about the loss of the handful of pounds that I wanted to lose. So anyway, I don't even know why we're talking about that on Patreon. It's because you guys pay the Patreon, which supports my my addiction to Doritos, I guess.
All right, guys. You know what it is. You know what to do, and I don't know what I'm doing. You had to do the JB.
I had to give right.
You know what you should have said when we first started is another blessing on a Saturday. You'll have to do that next time the way he does. I was going to ask you something. Well, we're on Patreon. I want to ask you just your thoughts on the whole thing, because there's so much going on this past week. A lot of people are saying that the WWE is going to be sold. There's a lot of, it was sold, but as of when we were recording this, there's no official news about whether it's sold or not. What's your thoughts, man? Do you quit watching this is what I wanted to know. Do you quit watching WWE if they're bought by the Saudis?
So I think it's,
that's a hard one, ain't it?
It is a hard one. I know where my morality is in the answer to that question, but also understanding anything you say and put out there on the internet never goes away. So I'm trying to find a right way to say this. Let's talk about the news. We found out allegedly through the rumor mill, through the grapevine, Twitter blew up all evening last night about the sale of a private investment firm owned by the Saudi government that WWE had sold to them. No confirmation. That was quickly rolled back this morning. There were some confirmations that messaging was wrong, that was literally just speculation. Folks were just guessing, because that was the latest relationship Vince had before he left, was with the Saudis, building that relationship with them and getting those events to happen. Stephanie McMahon stepping down. I think it's interesting timing. There may not be anything to it. She was on a personal leave. She was at home dealing, taking care of her kids and focusing on family before all of this happened, and she came back. But with Vince McMahon's return, it's interesting to note that the vote for her to, the vote for Vince McMahon to become executive chairman of the board happened after her resignation. So she left and had no vote. Vince replaced it with 3 of his allies. So, of course, what do? I mean, even if you didn't vote for him to be elected, the majority's got it. So do you want to still be on the board with the 80% stakeholder or not? I think is what it come down to. So that's why we got that unanimous vote. If it's bought by the Saudi government, that's going to raise a lot of questions. It's going to raise, and if it's made private, what happens to the female talent that's on the roster? We know that there are some restrictions on some liberties that women have in Saudi Arabia. Is that going to bleed over into the?
See, everyone's saying that, but I don't see that happening. I see it as because it's going to be a U.S. company. You see what I'm saying? So I can see them doing the big shows over there in them being covered. I understand that, but I don't think we're going to see. They would be stupid to do that, but we've seen things like that happen in wrestling all the time. If someone buys something, and just totally destroy it. But it's one of those things where you got to stay kind of on the way it's going now. And also, we got some huge contracts coming up. Something you said just a few minutes ago, I want to comment on. There was an article about Stephanie McMahon and them kind of with Vince leaving. They kind of blamed it on her and Triple H and Nick Khan, like going behind his back. But that's not what it's looking like now. And she was one of the first to go. I just don't know. This is going to be a hell of a documentary or a movie if they ever make it about this, because I'm a huge fan of those movies where they show how a business started and got all this money and then they just shit it away. And I just love watching them do it.
You jumped on that too, and I was going to say, in the direction that you were taking is where I was going to go as well. If it is maintained in the U.S. for and no leadership has changed, no creative has changed, they're just serving as the money holders for the business, and they're just the investment group, essentially the hedge fund that owns the business, then there's nothing, then nobody's going to be affected. It's going to be business as usual for everyone. But I think it's just, there's so many unanswered questions there. And if this does have a negative effect and we do go a different route and it's a negative route, what does that do for the independent circuit?
Man, I don't know. This gets totally, we could be sitting here at this time next year with the total different wrestling. There's a lot of stuff, and I know a lot of people that's listen to this probably don't even follow it as close as I do. There is a whole deal when it comes to these guaranteed contracts for AEW and for WWE. Whether AEW, if they don't get a higher contract, will they keep blah blah blah. But they are saying that Vince may have not really tipped off, but he knows these contracts are coming up. And the belief is it's either or. These new contracts are going to spend double the amount they spent the last time, or it's just going to drop off because, everyone's dropping off on live TV anyway. There was a time period where I guess it was probably 7 or 8 years ago that everybody said, cut the cord. Everybody's cutting the cord. But Terrence, no one was really cutting the cord. It was just kind of made up. But it has started happening in the last 18 months. So will that affect how much they'll pay for live TV? I think they pay for all kinds of different stuff. But someone told me today was the big deal about the contract is that they're owned by the Saudis. You know, the Saudis own that other TV, that other golf league. What is the other golf league? There's two golf leagues now. One that's been, and I'm not a golf person, but one that's been there for years, okay? And then there's a new one. The new one can't get TV because, well, they say it's because they're owned by the Saudis. So, how would that affect? And what, like you said, what happens to the boys? What happens to the business I can't see it just, dissolving, but I don't know, man. It's crazy. I think you're going to still have a backbone of fans that are going to watch it. A bunch of people that say, I'm not going to watch it because it's the Saudis, but you'll see the same backbone of fans. It's going to be a very interesting year. Lance and I are doing top stories of this past year. Look, we actually broke kayfabe and told this was Wednesday night, but we're doing it tomorrow night. And the top story, I think, would be Vince leaving. And I told Lance we got to just go with that because next year's probably going to be Vince coming back and selling the business. So it's really crazy. It's crazy.
It's a brand new landscape, and it's an area of unknown for everybody. Because for the most part of our lives, all we've had is WWE as the monster, the behemoth in the wrestling world.
Well, before everyone else started studying, everybody knows something about the ratings. I was worried at one point that because the ratings kept declining for the WWE, that we would see not a lot of money coming to them. But you said the landscape changed. What happened was there wasn't as many people watching live television. So all of a sudden we got live TV. And they paid mega bucks for the live TV. So there was a difference that happened there. It's really not and it was difference for them too. This deal with Peacock, they didn't have to worry about how many buy rates you got for a pay-per-view. Just a total. I remember talking at a convention. I walked up to Shane Douglas, introduced myself. They had just had the WWE network released, and I asked him about it, and we had this long conversation, first time I ever met him, about how it was going to change the wrestling business completely. Well, I never knew it would be boom, just what it actually did. It just, everything has changed. So kind of interesting. And then you got guys like you Memphis Wrestling who also, hey, I don't know if you can benefit from it, but people are going to need work if they don't use as many guys and people coming off of stuff like that. You may have the opportunity to get another X amount of fans in there if you've got people. And that's something real quick. What's your thoughts on, and I asked somebody about this the other day, and I haven't really asked Dustin about it. Might be a question for him, but Is there a stage there where Dustin will have to say, okay, we got to expand. We got to go somewhere else for the big shows?
It's a conversation Dustin and I have had, just individually from a production standpoint too. We're on Fight Plus now, which is another great streaming avenue for us to promote the business and promote the product and the talent that's there to put them over. And we've talked about, the prospect of having, what is it going to take to do live pay-per-views? What is it going to take to do a taped pay-per-view that premieres like it would be a YouTube premiere where, you'll have a set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then what are we looking at in terms of live events? Do we record that? Do we broadcast on location? I think it just depends on the audience and the sponsorship. If it continues to grow, just like with anything, you eventually outgrow where you're at. You're going to have to step a size up. And I know I'm not going to speak for Dustin, but for me, I think if we continue to grow and we continue to see more expansion, more buyers for sponsorships on the show, more talent willing to come in and get that exposure and profit off of that exposure, I think we might see an exploration of a new venue, or maybe the potential for expanding in other ways. Maybe it's a remodel. Maybe it's throwing some new paint and some new sets designs together. Maybe it's reformatting the layout of the building. We just don't know. I think until we get to the point where it's okay, we have to make that decision. This is where we've got to go.
I've seen it in all kinds of directions. A bigger building. I hear very little complaints about the Russell Center, except there's not enough room in backstage. That's it. That's one of the only things I hear from all the guys. But I always see it as, I guess it's just because I'm old school with the Memphis Wrestling, is I can see where he could keep the Wrestle Center, tape 2 or 3 shows, building for the big show that's going to be at the other building, because we're going to draw. We're not going to sell out and have to, tell people to go home, because we can do 200 to 300 to 400 people with one of the big shows. And I think
Similar
that's
to the old Memphis days.
yeah, exactly. Like, well, Monday Memphis Wrestling on Saturday was a commercial. The people say, well, all it was squash matches. That's what it was, because it was a commercial for Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. It was a commercial for Evansville. It was a commercial for, where else did they go? Louisville, Kentucky, Nashville. It was all those. It was the commercial, and that's what you would be doing. It would change the way it's booked. Not a bad thing. You can always change the way you book, but you would book toward the big show instead of the big match on television. It would be a little different. It would, but I wish it on them. I mean, you guys, I know you work hard. We all do. I mean, Dustin always says you are part of it. And I try to be a content provider, not part of actually of that. But sometimes, you just get behind something, you see the improvement, and you just want to be part of it. And you and me are alike when it comes to just being fans for so long, that it's good to watch something like that. The young talent, the guys that never got a chance. The Brett Michaels, the Mike Anthony's never got a chance on Memphis Wrestling. And now they're just, I talked to Brett after the show the other night. I had turned off the recording. I wished I would have kept it on.
And come on, BT. You always record.
I know it. I could have kept it going. But he comes off as so modest with everything, is so thankful for everything. Mike Anthony's like that too. Whoa, I'm sorry, guys. He's a nice guy too. Sometimes, but they are. It's weird, and I know you're going to know what this is about. But do you work for other promotions where one guy goes behind you, another guy's back and says he's champion, but I should be champion?
It's a work, guys. It is, and that's.
I know, but that happens. You know that happens,
and that's at the end of the day. If you're focused on and I'll say this, if you're focused on the guy that's taking a title from you or that's getting an opportunity that you're not, you're looking at the picture all wrong. Exactly. Absolutely all wrong. What can you do to ensure that next opportunity is yours for the taking? Watch yourself back on television. See what you can improve on. Ask those questions of the veterans, of your peers, of the production teams, of the staff, of the shows that you're at, so that you know what you can do to get better. Because the next time an opportunity rolls around, that promoter sees that growth, sees that you're stepping up to the plate, they're absolutely going to recognize that. If not, go somewhere else. But most of the time, your promoters, and especially, and I'm not, again, trying to speak for Dustin, but from what I've seen, he does that. He recognizes that. I'll give you a prime example. SmackDown was in Memphis just this past Thursday. Wife and I were there along with several other Memphis Wrestling and roster and some staff there. And we got to see 6 individuals from Memphis Wrestling booked on that show, 4 of which were trainees from the Wrestle Center.
Right.
And it's like, I told Dustin, I said, number one, I am so freaking jealous and upset that I didn't get that opportunity. Number 2, I am so freaking proud and just awestruck that a 19-year-old with no pro wrestling background outside of the Wrestle Center was booked on SmackDown. Somebody who's never been in the wrestling business, Mackenzie Morgan, prior to the Wrestle Center, got booked on SmackDown. It is just amazing.
Oh, I love it. And the people that, I hear people grumbling, and even back in the day when I was doing the website, Dustin would do extra work. Alan would do extra work. This is in it all. And I even saw people going, they're on television, blah, blah, blah. What are they doing? Do you not know how this exposure of being on Young Rock, being at SmackDown, being here, I seen something they did with Bosby this past week, maybe Monday. They did something where he went out to a team, a girls' team, basketball team, or stuff like that. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say I would say this, even though I do consider Dustin a friend, and I've known him for a long time, and watched him, just morph into what he is now. There's no one else that could do all this because he has